It's 2 in the afternoon in the middle of July. The thermostat in your hallway reads 76. You set it to 68 4 hours ago. It has not gotten there, and it is not going to. Above your head, in the attic you have not climbed into since you bought the house, the air is somewhere north of 130 degrees. Every minute it sits up there, your compressor outside is straining to keep up with a furnace sitting on top of your bedroom, and your electric meter is spinning like it's got somewhere to be. My name is Silas Fisher. I am Amish. I farm 40 acres in Holmes County, Ohio, and my wife Ruth and I have raised 5 children in a house with no central air conditioning. Not because we can't afford one, because we've never needed one. The upstairs bedroom where we sleep on the hottest night of August stays livable without a single machine fighting for it. I want to show you why. Not with a gadget, not with a $4 miracle powder. With the actual principles our houses have used for 200 years, principles you can put to work in your own house this weekend, most of it for less than the cost of 1 month of running your air conditioner. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly why your house is holding on to heat instead of shedding it, and you'll know precisely what to do about it. In order, starting with your attic and ending with something you already own, your windows. Stay with me. Here's the first thing most folks get wrong. You think of your attic as empty space above your ceiling. It isn't empty, it's a heat collector, and depending on how your house was built, it's either shedding that heat back to the sky or it's storing it and slowly pressing it down into the rooms where you live. Sun hits your roof deck, the wood underneath the shingles heats up. In a house built to breathe, that heat rises, moves out through vents at the ridge and gable ends, and is gone before it ever reaches your ceiling joists. In a sealed-up modern attic packed with insulation and closed off from real airflow, that heat has nowhere to go. It sits there all day, and by 6 in the evening, your whole roof structure is radiating heat downward into your house like a low, slow oven with the door cracked open above your bed. This isn't folklore, it's simple physics. Hot air rises, and if you give it somewhere to go, it goes there instead of down into your living space. Engineers call it the stack effect, or buoyancy-driven ventilation. You can find it in any building science textbook. Our houses have used it since before anybody was writing textbooks, because we never had a machine to fall back on if we got the building wrong. Every choice had to earn its keep in real August heat with nothing to hide behind. So that's the target. Not cool the house down, that's what an air conditioner does, and it costs you every single month for the rest of your life. What we're after is a house that doesn't collect the heat in the first place. That's a one-time fix, and once it's done, it keeps working every summer without you touching it. Before we fix anything, you need to know what's actually fighting you. There are 4 of them, and almost every American house has at least 2. 1, a dark roof. A dark asphalt shingle roof can reach 150 to 190 degrees on a sunny summer day. A light-colored or reflective metal roof under the exact same sun will typically run 30 to 50 degrees cooler. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between an attic that's merely warm and one that's an oven. 2, no real attic ventilation. Most homes built after the 1960s have small gable vents, often clogged, painted shut, or blocked entirely by insulation that was blown in by a crew that didn't know better. Without a clear path for hot air to escape at the top and cooler air to enter at the bottom, your attic can't do the one job it has. 3, no shade discipline. Full sun hitting your west and south-facing windows all afternoon is doing more to heat your house than almost anything else. And most people never think about it because it happens gradually, room by room, through glass. 4, a house that never gets to exhale. If you keep every window shut, day and night, all summer, your house's own walls and furniture soak up heat all day and never get a chance to release it at night when the air outside actually cools down. You're trapping heat inside your own walls. Fix those 4 things, and you have fixed the overwhelming majority of what's making your house miserable in July. Let's go through them one at a time, in the order I'd tackle them myself. Fix 1, check and clear your attic ventilation. Cost $0 to $15. Time 30 minutes. Grab a flashlight and get up into your attic on a cool morning before it heats up. Look at your gable vents or soffit vents from the inside. You're looking for daylight. If you see clean daylight coming through, good. That vent is doing its job. If you don't, you found your first problem. Most of the time, what's blocking it is decades of dust, old paint, wasp nests, or insulation that got blown in over the vent opening by mistake. Clear it out by hand or with a shop vacuum. If the screen behind the vent is torn or rusted through, replace it with aluminum insect mesh, about $3 a roll at any hardware store. You want the opening clear enough for air to move, tight enough to keep squirrels and wasps out. If your house has no ridge vent and no soffit vents at all, common in older homes, a pair of solar-powered attic fans installed at the gable ends run somewhere between $150 and $300 installed and will actively pull hot air out during the day without adding a dime to your electric bill, since they run entirely on their own small panel. That's an investment, not a weekend fix, but it's the single most effective upgrade if your attic has genuinely no path for air to move. Fix 2. Deal with your roof color without necessarily replacing your roof. Cost, $0 to $400 depending on approach. Time varies. If you're not due for a new roof, you don't need one just for this. There are reflective roof coatings, elastomeric coatings, they're called at the hardware store, that you can apply directly over an existing asphalt or metal roof to significantly increase how much sunlight it bounces away instead of absorbs. A DIY application on a modest roof runs somewhere in the $200 to $400 range in materials and is a legitimate weekend project if you're comfortable on a ladder, or a modest job for a local roofer if you're not. If you are due for a new roof in the next few years, choose a lighter color or a metal roof with reflective coating built in. The Department of Energy's own research on cool roofs shows attic temperatures dropping meaningfully, often by 20 degrees or more, simply from the color and reflectivity of what's on top of the house. This is one of those rare cases where the traditional choice, our roofs have run light-colored tin for 2 centuries, happens to be exactly what the building science now confirms. Fix 3. Build real shade before the sun ever hits your glass. Cost, $0 to $150 for immediate options, more for trees long-term. Time, a weekend. Every window that faces west or south is a door letting heat straight into your house all afternoon, and once that heat is inside, your air conditioner has to remove it. Far cheaper to keep it from getting in. The immediate low-cost option, exterior shades, awnings, or even a simple canvas tarp rigged on the sunny side of the house during the worst months. Exterior shading is dramatically more effective than an interior curtain because it stops the heat before it ever touches the glass. A set of exterior bamboo or canvas roll-up shades runs $30 to $80 per window and can be taken down come fall. The longer-term option, and the one my own grandfather relied on, is deciduous trees planted on the south and west side of the house, trees that lose their leaves in winter. In summer, they shade your roof and walls during the hottest part of the day. In winter, once the leaves drop, they let the sun back in to help warm the house. This is a multi-year investment, not a weekend fix, but it's the same principle every old farmhouse porch and shade tree was built around, and it costs nothing to maintain once it's grown in. Fix 4. Let the house breathe at night. Cost, $0. Time, 10 minutes a night. This is the one most people skip, and it's the one that costs nothing at all. Once the outside temperature drops below the inside temperature, usually a couple hours after sunset, open windows on opposite sides of the house, ideally one low and one high, or one on the shaded side and one on the side that's been in sun. This creates a cross draft that pulls the accumulated heat out of your walls, your furniture, and your floors, what building scientists call thermal mass, and replaces it with the cooler night air. Close everything back up in the morning before the outside temperature climbs past the inside temperature, and keep your shades or curtains drawn on the sun-facing side through the day. You are essentially using the cool of the night to reset your house before the sun starts working against you again. This single habit, done consistently, can take several degrees off your peak indoor temperature with zero equipment and zero cost. It works best in climates where nights actually cool down, most of the country, especially away from the immediate coast, and it's the exact rhythm my family has run this farmhouse on for as long as anyone can remember. Fix 5. Old-fashioned evaporative cooling for dry stretches. Cost, under $10. Time, 15 minutes. On a hot, dry afternoon, this matters less if you're somewhere humid, and I'll be straight with you about that. Hang a damp sheet or lightweight curtain over an open window where a breeze is moving through. As air passes through the damp fabric, some of that moisture evaporates, and evaporation pulls heat out of the air right along with it. It's the same principle behind an old-fashioned swamp cooler, just at the scale of a single window. It won't do much in a humid climate where the air is already saturated with moisture, But if you're somewhere dry, much of the West, the high plains, many summer afternoons, even in the Midwest, it is a genuinely effective, nearly free way to knock the edge off a hot room. I want to be honest with you about why most people have never heard any of this laid out plainly. It isn't a conspiracy, I don't believe in those, and I'm not going to pretend there's a meeting somewhere. It's simpler and a little sadder than that. Central air conditioning became cheap and reliable enough starting in the 1960s and 70s that builders stopped needing to think carefully about passive cooling at all. Why design a roof for shade and airflow when you can just install a bigger compressor? The knowledge didn't get hidden, it just stopped being necessary to anyone selling you a house, so it stopped getting taught. That's the honest version. No industry buried it, it just wasn't profitable to keep teaching something that reduces how much equipment you need to buy. We kept it, in my community, because we never had the machine to fall back on. When you can't run to the store for a bigger air conditioner, you learn to build the house right the first time. That's not virtue on our part, it's just what happens when you don't have a shortcut. None of these 5 fixes on their own will replace a good air conditioner in the worst heat of a Georgia summer, and I won't tell you it will. What I will tell you is that in most of this country, done together, clear attic ventilation, a lighter roof, real shade on your sun-facing windows, a disciplined night flush routine, and evaporative cooling on the dry days, these fixes can take a genuinely miserable house and make it a livable one, and can meaningfully cut how hard and how often your air conditioner has to run on top of that. For us, without a machine at all, it's the difference between a bedroom you can sleep in during August and one you can't. Total cost to do the first 4 fixes, not counting a full roof replacement, somewhere between $50 and $500, almost entirely one time, depending on how much your particular house needs. Compare that to what a central air system costs to install, or what a single summer of running one costs to operate, and you start to see why this was worth 200 years of doing it this way before anyone had a choice in the matter. So here's what I want you to do this week. Climb into your attic with a flashlight and check your vents. That's step 1, and it costs you nothing but 30 minutes. Look at your west and south windows and ask yourself honestly whether anything is shading them right now. And tonight, when the sun goes down, open 2 windows on opposite sides of your house and see what it feels like to let the place actually breathe. Tell me in the comments what you find up in your attic and what part of the country you're writing from. Next time, I'm going to walk you through how my grandfather built a root cellar into the hillside behind this farmhouse that holds a steady temperature through January and August both, using nothing but clay, sand, and the slope of the land. No machinery, no electricity, and it still feeds this family every winter. Till then, keep your roof honest and your house will keep you.